Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love MMA and I guess boxing as much as I do. Nate Diaz is apparently fighting Jorge Masvidal at some point this year in a boxing match. We all know how their first fight went. Jorge dominated majority of it, but Nate started to settle in and I guess find his rhythm up until the fight got stopped because of the cut. Overall, really dominant performance, but again, Nate was coming back in that fight, and who knows what would have happened in the fourth and fifth rounds. Clearly it was Jorge's night. I don't think that's happening in this rematch. I mean, I know it's not MMA, it's boxing, and it kind of does favor Jorge, but it also goes in Nate's favor because Nate has been more active and really didn't look bad when he fought Jake Paul. I expect him to be really motivated for this fight because Jorge has kind of, I mean, they both talked trash after their first fight, but Nate kind of started a little bit by saying, well, this happened and that happened, making a lot of excuses. I mean, a lot of fighters do it because they're petty about losing. And Jorge has kind of downplayed and talked down about Nate. And he hasn't beat anybody since fighting Nate Diaz. That's a fun fact, by the way. But he's made a lot of money. I got to go with Nate Diaz. Jorge has not looked right since his Nate Diaz fight. He didn't look right when he fought Gilbert, clearly. He got dominated by Colby Covington outside of a few good moments in that fight. He got destroyed by Usman in back-to-back fights. And yeah, he looked good against Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz has proven to have plenty in the tank left. Even after that fight, he went on and took Leon Edwards, the current champ, to distance in a 5-round fight. He beat Tony Ferguson. He did lose to Jake Paul, but it was a fairly competitive fight. I would have to pick Nate Diaz. I think Nate will win this fight. I don't think he finishes Jorge, given the fact that both guys are near the end of their careers, in my opinion. I say that because clearly neither guy's in their prime, but they're both good fighters. I think Nate Diaz will get the better of the stand-up exchange. I think he'll be motivated by the fact that the first fight didn't go his way. I'm sure he's thought about going back to the UFC after getting a big win in boxing, and this would be it for him, And honestly, if I had to pick either guy to fight Leon for the title right now, clearly Nate would be the better choice. Not to say Jorge's not good or anything, but I think everybody reaches up their peak at some point. And Nate Diaz, I think he has a little bit more left in the tank. Based off of previous contests, Nate has looked better. So I would and again, Jorge just didn't look right. He hasn't really looked right since the Diaz fight itself. And I don't think he's going to be... it's boxing. Anderson Silva looked great in boxing when he did box, even after getting beat a lot in his MMA, real late in his MMA career. Not early on, But I got to go with Diaz. I think Diaz outboxes Jorge. I believe he looks better in this fight. He gets a unanimous decision victory. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm no fight expert. I'm not even a professional analyst. I just give my opinions. But I got Diaz beating Jorge in a boxing match.